I wanted to love this phone so much. Hey, what's going on guys? Aryan here, and today we're going to talk about the latest flagship phone from HTC, the U Ultra. Now the U Ultra was announced back in January and it generated a lot of interest for two reasons. The first one is a majority glass build, and the second one is HTC's first attempt at artificial intelligence built right into their phone. Now, so HTC has this reputation for using aluminum on all of its flagship phones, but on the U Ultra they opted for glass. Now, the back of the phone has a super shiny and reflective glass material, and I opted for the black color, and I think it looks just fantastic. The only downside it has is it's a huge fingerprint magnet. If you're someone like me that likes to use a phone without a case, you're going to have to carry around a microfiber cloth if you don't want your phone to look dirty almost all the time. Now, as far as the frame of the phone goes, you'll find smooth metal. On the right side of the phone, you have your textured power button with volume rocker. On the top of the phone, you have your nano SIM tray, which can act as a dual SIM tray or a single SIM tray with a micro SD card. You have absolutely nothing on the left side of the phone, and on the bottom you have a USB-C port and one out of the two speakers for Boomsound audio. Now, something that really bugs me about the U Ultra, there's no headphone jack. Now, HTC does kind of compensate by giving you a pair of USB-C U-Sonic headphones, and they're amazing, but they don't give you an adapter. So all of your previous headphones are basically worthless. Now, on the front of the phone, you'll find a gigantic 5.7-inch display covered in Harambe glass 5. Now, the screen itself is beautiful. It's got a resolution of 1440 by 2560. Or is it 2560 by 1440? I don't care. Either way, you guys get the point. Quad HD, Super LCD 5 panel. What can I say about it? Rich, beautiful, punchy. Whatever comes to mind when you think about an amazing smartphone display, chances are the HTC U Ultra meets that criteria. Now, it's not something we've never seen before. It's actually become the norm on most Android flagship phones, but nonetheless, it's still beautiful whenever you're watching videos or just doing anything on the phone in general. But one of the selling points of the HTC U Ultra is the secondary display. Now, again, this is nothing new. We've seen it on the LG V10 and the LG V20, although on the HTC U Ultra, it is still incredibly functional. On the top, you can actually have hourly weather, you can have calendar events, you can have notifications, favorite contacts, application shortcuts, and even music controls. And if you want to get even more personalized with it, you can leave yourself a custom message or a phrase. Now, the top screen is also supposed to have information for HTC's Sense Companion, their artificial intelligence, but that software is still about a month out before it's finished, so I have no information for you as far as that goes. So let's get back to Boomsound. It's incredibly similar to what you'll find on the HTC 10. You'll find two speakers, one in the earpiece and one on the bottom of the phone. The one in the earpiece handles higher frequencies, and the one on the bottom of the phone handles lower to mid frequencies, and the two work together really well, especially whenever you're watching videos. My only gripe about it, and it's really small, is that if you really want to get awesome sound, you have to kind of cup your hand around the bottom of the phone, but not anything too big, and definitely having a speaker in the earpiece helps whenever you're watching videos. Now, as far as the specs department go, the U Ultra comes with a Snapdragon 821 and 4 gigs of RAM. It's your typical 2016 flagship phone setup. Now, I know a lot of you out there are wondering why the phone doesn't have the Snapdragon 835, and that's simply because they brought the U Ultra out too early. The 835 was not ready for a lot of flagship phones launching early this year. Now, as far as software goes, it's Android 7.0 with HTC Sense built on top, and it looks a lot like the software experience you have on the HTC 10. And given the performance setup, you have absolutely no issues. Apps load just fine, and the phone goes through anything you have for it to handle completely smooth. So for all you people out there that love photography, let's talk about the cameras. On the back, you have a 12 megapixel shooter, and on the front, you have a 16 megapixel shooter for high resolution selfies. Now, the phone can take 4K video, and one interesting fact that I really liked about the U Ultra, it's got 3D audio, meaning it has a microphone on the front of the phone, the back of the phone, the top, and the bottom. So whenever you're taking video, you take in audio from all around the device, which leads to a much more pleasant video playback experience. As far as pictures go, they come out sharp and full of detail, and I was really impressed with what the U Ultra could do in both standard lighting and low lighting situations. But don't take my word for it, here are a couple photo samples. Enjoy. So let's talk about the battery life. Now, so far the review for the U Ultra has generally been positive, but in my opinion, the biggest weak point of the U Ultra is its battery life. So just to give you guys an idea of how big this phone is, I'm going to show you the OnePlus 3T, the Pixel XL, the iPhone 7 Plus, and a banana for scale right next to the HTC U Ultra. Now, as you guys can see, the HTC U Ultra is bigger than every single one of these phones, and it's only slightly smaller than the banana used for scale. But the HTC U Ultra only comes with a 3000 milliamp hour battery pack. And when you compare that to the other four phones, it's only got a larger battery than the iPhone 7 Plus. Now, I'm sure there are reasons why HTC put a smaller battery in a phone this big, and it's probably because they had to make room for the drivers of the secondary screen. But if you gave me a choice of having a second screen on my phone or a slightly larger battery, chances are I take the larger battery. Now, in terms of usage, you'll probably get through a day just fine depending on what you're doing. Keep in mind that the phone has a huge 5.7-inch Quad HD display, and it's got excellent performance. But it also has to drive a secondary screen, which can put extra strain on the battery, especially considering that secondary screen can be used as almost an ambient display where it lights up every time you get a notification or something important. So battery life on the HTC U Ultra is decent at best, and it's a huge disappointment considering there could have been a much larger battery in a phone this size. So, my final verdict over the HTC U Ultra. And keep in mind that this part of the video is going to be in one complete take. So I want to apologize ahead of time if I make any mistakes or I use too many sentence fillers like or Is the HTC U Ultra a great phone? Yeah. But is it worth your money? I don't think it is. Now, the HTC U Ultra has a retail price of $750. Now, at that price point, you are in the top tier of flagship phones. For $20 or $50 extra, you can get a 32GB Pixel, which is still arguably one of the best Android phones on the market. Now, my biggest issues with the HTC U Ultra is that I feel like the phone has no identity. It seems like HTC took too many pieces from other companies, threw them into a flagship phone, and released it early enough to see if some customers would just buy it and end up liking it. There's no headphone jack, which they didn't even take that one from Apple. Oppo was the first company to do it with their flagship phones, but nonetheless, they followed suit of another company. The back of the phone, as far as the glass and overall design goes, reminds me a lot of the Galaxy Note 7 and a lot of the Galaxy Note 5. Now, the secondary display was clearly taken from LG's V10 and LG's V20, something that we've seen almost 2 years ago now, so it's not anything new. And to be completely honest with you guys, it's not entirely functional. I did not find myself using it at all or even a little bit during my review period. Yeah, it's cool to have and it's really nice to see, but once you start actually using the phone day to day, you don't exactly rely on a secondary display. One display should be just fine. Another issue I have with the phone, it's unapologetically large. I have the iPhone 7 Plus, and that is my daily right next to either the Pixel XL or the OnePlus 3T. The HTC U Ultra is bigger than the iPhone 7 Plus, which has a 5.5-inch screen, but has the footprint of a 5.7 to 5.8-inch screen phone. So if you're making a flagship phone bigger than the iPhone 7 Plus, you're doing something wrong in my opinion. It should be smaller, and it should have much better dimensions than the HTC U Ultra. Especially if you throw a case on it, it just becomes massive. Now, some of you might like that, but someone like me, there's a certain limit to how big the phone should be in order to make sure that it's comfortable using it in one hand still. Not to mention the fact that HTC is up against some really stiff competition. Their own HTC 11 will probably be better than the U Ultra, and that should be announced very shortly. Samsung is bringing out their S8, and I'm sure there will be a successor to the popular but shortly lived Note 7. Apple is going to bring out incredible iPhones this year. Google has confirmed Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. So there's just way too much competition for HTC to kind of throw in this jumbled mess of a smartphone and throw it out at the consumers and expect them to pay $750. Now, if you can find this phone for around $550 to maybe $600, it might be worth your money. But in my opinion, if you want to save a couple $100, get yourself a OnePlus 3T that can do almost everything this phone can do without the secondary display, and you'll be much happier saving a couple $100. Or if price or money is no option to you, spend a couple $100 more and get yourself a 128 gig Pixel XL if you can manage to find one, because I know they're all sold out. but that's a better phone in my opinion considering the money. So yeah, the U Ultra is a great phone, but is it worth your money? I don't think so. And I wanted to love the phone so much, but at this price point, it's tough to recommend it to anybody. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below. Let me know what you think about the HTC U Ultra down in the comments. Are you gonna buy it, or are you gonna wait for something else from HTC or other flagship phones coming out later this year? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Now the front of the phone has a gigantic 5.7-inch screen covered in I can't. You were laughing, bro. Yeah. I had it. You started laughing.
It's because you said gigantic. I thought you were going to say gigantic Harambe.
Gigantic Harambe glass 5 panel.